This video is proudly sponsored by NordVPN. Now for me personally, NordVPN is not only an amazing service because it protects my internet passwords and personal data, but it actually allows me to access movies and TV shows on Netflix that would otherwise not be available in my country. So if you want to try this out as well, you can get NordVPN now with 75% off by going to nordvpn.com/storytellers, or you can just simply click the link in the description below. Now, why do so many 20-somethings want to stream a 20-year-old sitcom about a bunch of 20-somethings sitting around in a coffee shop? This was the question asked by Adam Sternberg in an article about the current popularity of Friends. Almost 25 years after the first ever episode aired and more than 15 years after the series' final, I think Friends still holds an enormous cultural currency.
It is so weird, even in the papers this week, 12 years after Friends stopped. It's now in the papers all this week because there's a rumoured reunion that you're getting together.
Yes.
Friends has reruns playing worldwide and is also massively streamed on Netflix, quoted daily by millions of fans.
So would you be able to ask me how I'm doing?
Oh, yes, do that.
And of course it is also still the subject of countless pop articles. Friends is not only rewatched by its original audience, but it is actually attracting a new audience of young fans. So what is it that causes Friends to stay in the hearts of millions of people, including my own, while also finding its way to the hearts of millions of new fans? To understand this, we must both analyze the central themes of Friends as well as the audience that watches the show. Friends is of course a show about, well, friends. But more than that, it is about the worries, anxieties and struggles that people experience during their 20s. This period is a time where you're supposedly an adult, but there's still an enormous amount of uncertainty in your life, both on a romantic and a professional level.
I just got fired.
Of course, you have left your parents' house, finished university and started working, but you haven't settled down or gotten married yet, and you're also still looking for that special person in a messy dating pool.
Okay. Breakup's still on.
Simultaneously, your career might have started, but you aren't established yet at all. And in many ways, you don't actually feel like an adult. You miss the simplicity and fun of childhood.
Don't you think the cowboy hat's a little much? Come on, it's fun. All right.
I think it is no coincidence that a sitcom about this life period is so popular with current generations. In the last decades, there has been a fundamental shift in the importance of this period of our lives. A period that was called Emerging Adulthood by Robert Morantz in New York Times Magazine.
I read about these women trying to have it all, and I thank God our little harmonica doesn't seem to have that quality.
This period of emerging adulthood that is mostly defined by professional and romantic uncertainty during one's 20s didn't used to exist.
This is just so exciting. I never worked. I went straight from my father's house to the sorority house to my husband's house.
As Morantz points out, in the 1970s the average age of marriage was 22. A generation later it is 29.
I turned 30 today, and I can do anything I want. Because I am a grown-up.
If leaving home, financial independence, marriage and having a first child are the milestones of adulthood, in 1970, 75% of 30-year-olds had reached these milestones. Only a third had in 2000, and the trend is continuing.
I know my life's going pretty well, but I look around and I just see so many people who've accomplished so many of their goals by the time they're 30.
It seems that the last couple generations increasingly choose to postpone the safety and certainty of an early marriage and stable job in order to explore more, follow their passions and acquire more dating experience.
Hey, how you doing?
The very first episode of Friends shows the rejection of this, let's say, outdated life path when Rachel rejects the stability of a safe and predictable marriage and life.
What if I don't want to be a shoe? What if I want to be a purse? Or a hat? No, want you to buy me a hat. I'm saying that I am a hat. It's a metaphor, Daddy.
Instead, choosing for the uncertainty but adventure of finding a truly fulfilling career and romantic partner.
Welcome to the real world. It sucks. You're gonna love it.
Simultaneously, Ross, who actually tried to achieve a stable marriage early on, now has a lesbian ex-wife.
This is the best thing that ever happened to you. You got married. You were like, what, 8? Welcome back to the world. Grab a spoon.
To not be stable and settled down during this period of life creates a sense of playfulness and adventure for the friends, where anything is possible. Although technically adults, they are still connected to a youthful, childlike mode. But even though this period of emerging adulthood offers that adventure and playfulness, it is also a period of instability, anxiety and insecurity. A period of failed relationships, career setbacks and uncertainty about the future. Rachel gets stuck in a waitress job she hates. Monica does every job even remotely close to her passion of cooking while chasing down stability as a chef.
Why would such a person stay in such a demeaning job just because it's remotely related to the field they're interested in? Gee, I don't know, Rach.
And well, we all know how much Joey struggles as an aspiring actor.
Ichiban, lipstick for men.
The only one that both has a stable job that he has also a passion for is Ross, but he's of course mercilessly teased for his childlike love for dinosaurs, and he too eventually runs into career instability after the infamous sandwich incident.
You threw my sandwich away. My sandwich! My sandwich!
But of course, the biggest factor of instability for Ross is his romantic life, despite his efforts to stabilize it.
You got married again.
Yes?
So that's your second marriage in 2 years.
Yes. Second in 2 years. Third overall.
Now, even though the friends choose to have a longer, adventurous and playful transitionary period of emerging adulthood, they mostly still have the goal of eventually settling down in a stable career and a loving marriage.
I mean, I've always had this picture of me and my next wife in bed on Sunday, and my kid comes running in and leaps up onto the bed, and we all read the paper together, you know?
So, in order to survive the romantic and professional uncertainty of emerging adulthood, the friends lean on the one stable factor in their lives, their friendship. Even if romantic relationships emerge and fail within the friend group, the relationship might end, but the friendship remains intact. Their friendship creates a safe haven of stability in their otherwise uncertain lives. Where romantic relationships fail, families are dysfunctional, and career trajectories are uncertain, friendship becomes the most stable and important value in life. And this is what Friends teaches us, that no matter how much uncertainty, all we need in order to survive is a sense of humor and a good group of friends. I believe that this is why Friends is still so popular with new generations. We are a generation that has a longer period of emerging adulthood than ever before. We date more people using a wider range of apps, settle down and marry later, or even not at all. It seems we choose adventure over stability, but that also causes uncertainty and even loneliness. Simultaneously, career-wise, we are a generation that has been told we can be anything and to follow our passion.
They were told that they were special all the time. They were told that they could have anything they want in life, just because they want it. And they're thrust into the real world, and in an instant, they find out they're not special, their moms can't get them a promotion, that you get nothing for coming in last, and by the way, you can't just have it because you want it.
But many of us in our early 20s are still searching and unstable in our careers.
Everything you want, you can have instantaneously. Everything you want, instant gratification. Except job satisfaction and strength of relationships, there ain't no app for that.
Some of us might even long for the stable, boring corporate job security of the past. Because in the last 20 years there has actually been a shift in working culture that is also visible in Friends. The 90s are often seen as a period of economic stability, but it was simultaneously also the high point of the boring corporate cubicle office culture, a working culture that was criticized by movies such as Fight Club and the comedy Office Space at the end of the century.
Living for the Lord and I last. Now all I gotta say to you, one of you's gonna be crumb snatching, coochie eating pranksters. When the Grim Reaper steps up, what the hell you gonna do? Damn, it feels good to be a gangster.
Now, our current day working culture is marked by things like following your passion, changing the world, freelancing, startups, flex working and temporary jobs. This gives more possibilities and choices, but also more instability and uncertainty. In the early seasons of Friends, Chandler has a stable corporate office job that he dislikes.
Alright kids, I gotta get to work. If I don't input those numbers, doesn't make much of a difference.
But that gives him stability and financial independence. Compared to his friends who are chasing their passions but are struggling, his choice seems smart.
We don't have as much money as you.
However, in the final seasons, all the other friends are happily established in careers they have a passion for.
You don't even like your job.
So, who does?
Oh, I like my job. I can't
my job.
wait to go back to work.
I can't get enough dinosaurs.
And Chandler wants to change careers into something he actually likes.
And why should I be the only one who doesn't get to do what he really wants to do?
Francis argues that following your passion might be tough, but that it will be worth it eventually. In the end, the ultimate goal of the friends is to have fulfilling careers and love lives, but in the uncertainty and instability of emerging adulthood where those things aren't established yet, friendship becomes the main source of stability. And that is what Friends means to the millions of fans that still watch the show. I think a large percentage of young people in their 20s today have the same professional and romantic uncertainty as the characters on Friends did 20 years ago. Now Friends shows us that during this period the most important relationships in our lives are our friendships. More than that, the characters on the show actually start to feel as our own friends. Watching Friends becomes a soothing experience where watching the show is almost like hanging out with the characters on screen. As one journalist wrote, "It was my go-to source for entertainment and laughter in high school, college and beyond. It cheered me up after bad days and it helped me through bad breakups. Without fail, every episode took me back to the first time I watched it and filled me with a sense of calm. It even helped me fall asleep. It still does." Just as the friends on screen are there for each other when their lives become overwhelming, they are there for us as well when our lives do the same. Alright, thank you all so much for watching. Now, as some of you might know, Friends will actually disappear from Netflix next year. But luckily, as for example Rowdy points out, Friends will actually stay on Netflix in certain countries outside of the US. So if you want to keep watching Friends, you should definitely use NordVPN. Now of course NordVPN sponsored this video, but it is really an amazing virtual private network service that me and Thomas use ourselves to watch movies, documentaries and television shows on Netflix that otherwise wouldn't be available in our own countries. So for example, I personally just watched the TV show Shameless this way, since it's actually not available in the Netherlands, but it is in the US. So if you want to try it out now, you can get 75% off by going to nordvpn.com/storytellers, or of course you can just click the link in the description below.